Introduce Tom today, who I've known for 2 minutes, and I think he's fabulous. And,
she's right.
I think so. And so we welcome you here to our great conference. And Tom will be presenting Healing Your Body. How to meditate. And that's another one I have to go do. So enjoy yourselves. And this is going to go on for about an hour and a half. And all we ask that you do is fill the room up in the front. If you move the chairs, could you please put them back? That would be great, because for the next meeting they're going to come in.
Okay.
And if you need to talk to someone after this meeting, and you need someone for an AA-related issue, sponsorship, on the second floor there's a hospitality suite. We'd love to talk to you. So take care, have a great time meditating, and enjoy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, for the people way in the back, it would really be helpful if you could, and feel free to move your chairs, but to come in as close as you can, so we'll have kind of a semicircle, if you wouldn't mind doing that. That's just... Would you close the door? Thanks. Shelley, you want to... I'll introduce you before I get started. You'll be here at the end?
Yeah, I'll stay. It'd be nice if I'm just good.
All right. We're going to do it in little bits, like 5 minutes. Because we'll see. But I want to see what people are used to first.
Okay.
Shall we get started? Welcome to the How to Meditate workshop. My name is Tom. I'm an alcoholic. Why don't we begin with a moment of silence and do the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to exchange the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, to begin with, I'm shocked to see this many people. I expected 5 or 6. Because I thought I'd be optimistic, I printed up 30 copies of a handout. So there we are. But I'm also pleasantly surprised that this many people are interested in meditation. I think it's just wonderful. Can I ask, how many people in the room, how many people in the room have never done any kind of formal meditation? A minority. That's great. How many people have a meditation practice that they do regularly? And how many people have occasionally meditate? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do here today is teach a form of meditation called Vipassana meditation. Meditation is such a huge subject that you can't teach it all. I mean, there's so many ways of meditating. So this will be the one topic we'll teach, Vipassana meditation. Vipassana is a Pali term, and it means clear seeing or insight. And it's one of the name brand meditations. It was taught by the Buddha to his disciples 25 centuries ago, and has been practiced ever since in India and Asia, later in Europe, and now in America. And so by millions of people have used this practice. So, it's one you can reliably count on to be a good meditation technique. And it isn't for everybody, and if this one isn't for you, of course there are plenty of other forms of meditation too. Okay, so that's what we'll do today. Vipassana. One of the advantages of Buddhist meditation practices too is that they're not religious, or you don't have to see them as religious. They are a technique which you can use and understand it within any religious context or no religious context. So you don't have to worry too much about all that. But I think I will start by saying a few words about why we meditate, at least from the Eastern perspective. So why do we meditate? Why is it encouraged, and what do you get out of it? And then we're going to mostly just do it for the rest of the time. In the Eastern point of view, what is generally said is that everything we do for one motive. We do it because we want to be happy. We want to get away from suffering and move toward a state of happiness. Most people would agree with that. And so virtually everything we try to do is for that reason. So our relationships, our careers, recovery, drinking, everything we do is because we think it will make us happy. And that's fine. Happiness is an inherent goal in life. But from this point of view, most of the people in the world, most of us make a fundamental mistake in that we think happiness is to be found out there in some state of affairs. We are to find some abiding or permanent happiness out there. Right? I mean, our careers are about being happy. If I just get the right relationship, I'll be happy. Love is the answer, meaning romantic love. Love is you and you are mine. That kind of attitude. The reason that this is seen as a fallacious way to live and inherently mistaken and unworkable is that everything in the world changes. Everything that is born dies. Every state of affairs that exists arises and passes away. So everything changes. And the conclusion from that is, therefore, any reliance on any situation in the world to provide permanent and abiding happiness is inherently unworkable. You will always be disappointed and suffer in the long run. And we all know, this is nobody really usually will argue with this when it's pointed out. It seems pretty obvious to any one of us who's been out of the house for the last 10 years that it's like that. But we don't really know it in our hearts most of the time. For instance, if we look at relationships, we don't really accept that every relationship we're going to have is going to end either in death or in estrangement. That's a pretty potent reality right there to face. If you really live with that fact, these bodies aren't permanent, of course. They grow up and they die. So are the bodies of everyone else we know. Money is like that. Vacations are like that. Moods come and go. Highs come and go. And so on. It's all like that. So, to the extent that we depend on the world, we're frustrated. So this can lead to despair, and it does lead to despair in some philosophies in the West, like existentialism and so on. But the Eastern point of view then is the question that's then asked is there a source of permanent and abiding happiness? And the answer that is always given is yes, there is. There is a way out of this, and that is, instead of looking outside, you look within. And then, of course, every spiritual tradition, Eastern or Western, says exactly the same thing. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." He meant that quite literally, I think. And we all say that, but we don't act as if. We believe, the kingdom of heaven is that guy or the money or the promotion. Because that's how we generally live. We act as if that's what we believe. But if the kingdom of heaven is within you, what does that mean? In Eastern philosophy, generally the way it's understood is that consciousness itself is a source of permanent and abiding happiness. Consciousness, awareness, is inherently joyful, peaceful, and fulfilling and whole all by itself. To most of us, this sounds like science fiction. I'm conscious and I don't feel good. I'm here, listening to this crap, what's the, it sounds like quite a leap to say that. The answer to that is that we continually mistake consciousness with the contents of consciousness. Consciousness is like a mirror which reflects whatever is on it. You could look at consciousness as a movie screen. And on this movie screen, our lives run. So our bodies are on the screen. Anything that we're aware of is on the screen of consciousness, right? Our experience of life. But we're always identified with, we're in the movie of our lives. So we identify with this whole process, and we get caught up in it, and we go with the story, and we suffer, and we have hope, and it's quite a drama we're all in. And of course we suffer. But what happens in meditation then is that you step back from the movie. Instead of identifying with the movie, in a sense, you identify with the screen, with the consciousness which knows it. So meditation is about consciousness becoming aware of consciousness. And it is found that when you are able to do this, when you are able to simply withdraw into consciousness itself, you find the great irony of life, which is that the thing you are looking for, happiness, is the thing you are looking with. And that's the great news, that there is within us a source of abiding happiness. And it's already there, it doesn't need to be cultivated. People very early on when they start meditating begin to find that there is a sort of an awareness that simply is witnessing what's happening in your life. It's always there. It is always peaceful. It is always happy. It is always completely unaffected by what is going on in your life. That exists in all of us now. It does not have to be created. It doesn't have to be tended to. All that we have to do is clear the rubble away so that we can see it. It's already there. We're already whole, we're already complete, we're already perfect. This, in outline, is the essential idea. So, meditation, then, is the exact opposite of addiction. Addiction is looking out there for happiness. And from the Eastern point of view, virtually everything everybody does is an addiction. Alcoholism and drug addiction are just an extreme form of what everybody's doing when they're chasing women and cars, money. It's all the same. The movement of non-addiction then is to move within and to make some time in your life for this quiet, peaceful space. Okay? Now I'll just talk about some of the practice. Are there any burning questions? I don't want to talk about this too much. I'd like to just do it. But are there any? Does that bring up anything? Okay. So the next thing is then bringing meditation into your life. I think one of the practical things, if you don't meditate regularly, that I would say is, first of all, regular meditation, regularity of practice is extremely important in realizing this source of joy. Doing it daily. But when most people hear that, they decide, well, that means I've got to sit for 30 minutes every morning and every evening and meditate. And you won't do it. First of all, that's a very hard habit to develop. Second, we have a whole culture that's against it. This is not a meditative culture we live in. You know. So everything is going to be pulling you in the opposite direction. So two things I would suggest for that is that you might, if you're serious about doing this, start with 5 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. It's just your practice. You just sit for 5 minutes and meditate in the morning and in the evening. Might start with a prayer. With the Serenity Prayer or the Third Step Prayer is my personal favorite. And then just do that. And in time, if you feel like you can extend the time, but easy does it. Don't change the time until even that 5 minutes becomes a habit. And you will find that over time, a kind of quiet you begin to see that quiet more and more. You begin to be able to step out of the movie and become the consciousness that's witnessing it, which is unaffected by all of this. And the other thing to do, I would suggest, is that you meditate with other people if you can. In trying to learn any habit, the thing to do always is to do it with other people. You know. Fortunately, at least in this town, for the San Franciscans I know, there are hundreds of meditation groups all over, including gay and lesbian ones. And Shelley at the end of the group is going to talk to us about some meditation practices available for gays and lesbians in the Bay Area. But I think that wherever you can, to 11th step meetings, church groups, meditation groups, whatever you can, if you can go to something like that once a week, you'll find that meditation really can take off. So do it with others and keep it simple. Okay. The other thing, and now the first part of meditation that we need to talk about is posture. And the first thing that you don't have to do is sit on the floor and cross your legs. A lot of people have this idea, that because in Asia and India, that's how they meditate. You see these pictures of yogis with their, heels on their shoulders and, sitting like this. People sit cross-legged in these countries naturally. They grow up with this, so it feels comfortable. and then it comes over to America, and we see that and we think, since suffering and holiness are combined in our minds, we think that hurts, so it must be the way I should meditate. So you can meditate sitting on a chair. If you want to if you feel comfortable sitting cross-legged, that's fine. This is called a zafu. I believe that's a Japanese term that they use in Zen. It's a meditation cushion, and you can sit on that. My personal way of meditating is to take this, and this is just personal for me, but I'll just show it, is to sit like this and sit on it. And with I can sit like this for an hour, and it's very comfortable. And what I like about that, is that I don't go to sleep as easily because I'm not leaning against anything. But that's just one possibility. It's fine to meditate in a chair, okay? But the thing you need to do is to have it as erect a spine as possible, sit in a posture that is as comfortable as possible, so that you can sit for a while. Before you meditate, if you have time, it's great to do some exercises. If you can do yoga, aerobics. I know a lot of, we have lives too. We can't devote our whole lives to this. But if you can, especially on weekends, great, do that. Any kind of relaxation, anything that opens you up so that you can sort of let go of the body. Because if you're all tense and tight, the mind will be tense and tight too, right? The other thing you might do, especially if the mind is really busy, is you might start with some breathing exercises. The simplest one is, sit ideally with your back not against the chair, and begin taking some very deep breaths, starting from way down here, filling the lungs slowly all the way up to the collarbone. Hold for a second and then exhale. And try that, just... See that? If you sense the energy in the room, it's already coming down, right? What the reason is that when we're tense, we breathe very rapidly. When we're calm, we tend to breathe with these slow, long, deep breaths. It's automatic. So you can do it the other way too. If you start breathing like a calm person, the mind starts to calm. Another yogic technique for breathing is to take your right hand if you're right-handed, left if you're left, and do this. These two fingers down and like this. And cover one nostril. Breathe in fully. Pause for a second. Cover the other nostril with your nose. Breathe out. And then back in. What this is said to do is balance the energies in the body and further relaxing. You may already begin to feel a little more relaxed than when you came in. Another breathing exercise that you can do, which is a little more vigorous and it can be fun, is called breath of fire. You know this one? This is again, you sit up, and when you can put your hand on your abdomen, and you sort of pull the abdomen in as you breathe out. It's like this. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. What am I doing here? It's like this. You got that? Can you try that? Just do it a few times. Yeah. And well, let's do it for a little bit. I'll just do it for as long as you want. I'll ring this little bell in 1 minute and just see what it's like. Okay?
You're breathing out.
You're breathing.
And you're pulling it out from the inner.
Well, basically force the air out.
It'll naturally come back.
Like that. Got it? Okay, go. Now take a really deep breath in, close your eyes, exhale, and just relax. So these are preliminaries to meditation, which can be very useful in getting the mind to start to calm down. Okay? Now we'll go into Vipassana meditation. I'm just going to give instructions, and I will talk at you, or to you, excuse me, during the entire meditation. We're just going to do it for just a few minutes, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So that's what we'll do. Okay? No, go ahead. So close your eyes. And just come fully into this room. For right now, leave the past outside of this room. Leave all your plans for this weekend, later today, outside the room. And just focus on how your body is right now. How it feels to be sitting on the chair. Notice any parts in the body that feel tense. And if you want to adjust yourself, that's perfectly fine too. Sit comfortably, not rigid. Now bring your attention to your breathing. And just watch it. Notice how the chest goes up, expands when you inhale, goes in a little bit when you exhale. Just watch that. Give it your full attention. You might bring your attention to your back, the back of your chest, and see how that feels when you inhale and exhale. How it expands and contracts as well. Get a sense of this three-dimensional space that is your lungs, that's expanding and contracting. And notice how when the breath comes into the lungs, it gently caresses the inside of your lungs. That the air feeds you. How pleasurable that is. A sensation we rarely notice. So for the next few minutes, just pay attention to the breathing. Your mind will absolutely wander away. When it does, gently bring it back and focus on the breathing. Where is your mind right now? If it's wandered off into thoughts or fantasies, just gently bring it back to the breath. Notice if you're controlling the breath or simply observing it. It's very difficult just to watch it without starting to control it. What you might do is on the next exhalation, deliberately don't breathe in and just watch the lungs very gently until the inhalation starts by itself. So you don't hold your breath and you don't deliberately breathe. just this moment, just this breath. Okay, that was just 5 minutes. I'd like to hear from people what happened, what was your experience, and if any of you have any questions about what happened. Mm-hmm.
What happens when you start dying out?
Yes, is that what happened? I'm sure you're the only one in this room who felt tired. Anyone else feel? You see, I just want to, it's really common. Well,
I mean, it was hard to concentrate on just meditating when my head was bogged.
yeah. My personal feeling is, well, this isn't just a personal feeling. We are in a culture that is sleep deprived, right? I just learned this the other day. Before the electric light was invented, I don't know how they know this, but Americans got an average of 10 hours of sleep per night. We get 7, maybe, most of us. So we are sleep deprived. So when you sit down, the mind calms, the body gets a little relaxed, we start to nod off. I would say that's a sign, this isn't bad, this is a sign from the body of what it needs. And if you have the time, and your meditation becomes a nap, fine. That's good for you. Now, if you can't, there are various things people do. Some people actually meditate standing up. In long meditation retreats, you'll see people standing. You don't have to sit to meditate. Or you try some of these breathing exercises, Or you can actually walk a little bit and then sit down. But drowsiness is really common, and it's usually something to pay attention to, I think.
One thing that's helped me to do is sometimes I make my eyes open.
Yes.
I can use a flower or a candle or a statue to focus on or a picture I like.
Yeah. In Zazen, which is a Japanese-style Zen meditation, you meditate with the eyes just a little open, focusing down at kind of at an angle. And that helps some people stay awake.
I got in touch with some fear at the very beginning. I'm sitting there waiting that I was going to scream.
Really?
And just sitting quietly with that. I've done it a couple other times when I'm meditating. I don't know if it's trying to run away from silence or what.
Yeah. Feelings start to come up. Well, let me deal with this a little bit. I don't know what that's about. I would say when you're meditating, don't try to figure it out. It'll be tough because an insight will come up, or something what's that about? That must be related to my childhood, or that's my incest issue, or my dysfunctional family issue, or whatever. Don't do that if you can. File it away for later, because meditating is simply watching. But what happens with feelings is they arise, they crest, and they pass. You'll notice that feelings are impermanent like everything else. So if you identify yourself with the witnessing consciousness, you simply watch the feelings come and go. And you might even say a little whisper in your mind, maybe 10% of your attention, feelings arising. You might say something like that, just to note it, because what will tend to happen is you'll go with it. You'll start running with it, and then, in fact, you can't help do this, actually, right? Anyone not run with a few things? How many people didn't? Yeah. So that'll happen. So you gently bring your attention back, but simply watch the feelings as they come and they go.
Sort of like a mantra, so that I would, and it was more like a prayer, or breathe. I just kept saying the word breathe or breath, which reminded me that all I'm doing is paying attention to my breath, because when I had an ADD / alcoholic brain, so
Yeah, yeah.
Just sitting still for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
But I, too, got that thing about sleep deprivation. I mean, if you're falling asleep, because you're tired, and that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. We shouldn't be like I think we're lazy or something because, or not good, not spiritual or something because we want to sleep. Let me talk just a little bit about this, and then I'll get to you. The thing about mantra, that's another form of meditation, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But in Vipassana, what you did is actually a technique. People will do things like say, rising for the inhalation, falling for the exhalation, or they'll count them. 1, 1, 1, 2, all the way up to 10, or anything that you want to do. But, or in, out, breathing is fine. But the idea then is just to bring 10% of your attention to that and just watch as much as possible and have those words be kind of an anchor which holds you in awareness. Okay? Mantra meditation is not what this method is, but it is also a very time-honored, equally ancient form of meditation. If you want to do that, you can focus on, say, if you want like Eastern, you can focus on a Hindu mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, which means I honor the inner self. And you can do it on the in-breath and on the Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Or if you like a Christian prayer, it could be something like, Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, or Thy will, not mine, be done, or any little affirmation, any little phrase to accompany the breath. Some people find this easier to do, to keep it on a single thought. Okay, you had a...
Yeah, just in my experience, the sleep thing is also that certain states of meditation lie beyond sleep, and it's sort of thinking of sleep is different. It's that sleepy feeling is something else, and trying to take that awareness through sleep, and not. To me, the important thing is not to beat myself up when I feel myself going into that state, and sometimes I find you move through it to another state on the other side of it.
Yeah, that's happened to you. That's happened to me too. That this drowsiness will sort of burn away like a fog, and you're in this very pure, quiet state, which is extremely restful. Is that what you're? Is that? Yeah. It's quite beautiful if you can reach that point.
I wanted you to speak two things. One is sort of just the resistance to keeping the commitment and doing it, and getting over the thought. The other one is meditation that involves light and sound.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, boy, you're asking me names I don't even know. So as for that, I'm probably not. These are also very time-honored meditations, light and sound, and I'm not familiar with them, so I really can't answer the question intelligently. One thing, people can meditate watching a candle, but some people imagine inner lights and so on, and it works for some people, but I can't really address that. I don't know much about it. What was the other thing? Resistance. Well, if you do it regularly in time, it will, like anything else that's good for you, you'll start to like it. Everyone hates to go to the gym at first, but people who go to the gym for a while start to miss it if they don't. Meditation is that way too. And it's also quite natural that you'll have a resistance to meditation. The mind resists meditation, not just in this culture, but in the mind, everybody's mind. The mind is often called a monkey, because it jumps around from tree to tree to tree, yelling and so on. One of the first things people discover when they start to meditate is how absolutely crazy and unruly the mind is. Did anyone not notice that? Right? It's amazing. And it's doing this all the time. Only we don't know it until we try to be quiet. To try to make the mind be quiet. Well, good luck, So it does resist. So I would say accept the resistance as natural and as human, and then do it anyway. But keep it small, just a few minutes. You know. The other thing is if you meditate with other people, that will help.
I'm just going to add on that things that helped me get a regular practice story that I've heard before is to have like an altar. Someone described it to me like you have a kitchen table, and you sit at the table, your mouth starts validating. And if you have an altar,
Yes.
sit down, it's kind of like this automatic thing. And also if you have a regular time, like for me, I get out of bed, I take my shower and meditate. You know, it's
Great.
a regular routine, so it becomes a routine. And also just accept, like kind of what you were saying, is some days it won't be such great meditation, and then the next day will, the next day it won't. And it's just to know that, okay, today wasn't that great. Sometimes I'll just sit down for 2 minutes, just to stop. And
Yeah.
then it'll be a longer meditation, but I just tell myself, oh, I'm just going to sit for a second.
A couple things about that, and then a couple things. Oh, that's a great idea. A place to meditate. If another way to make meditation regular is to take a place in your home and set it aside just for meditation and nothing else. A little corner even, and maybe have an altar, a chair, candles, pictures of saints or whatever. Whatever is important to you, AA literature, prayer, whatever, and whenever you want to meditate, you go there. What you'll find is it's very strange that it's as if that place begins to develop an energy, and after a while, the minute you go there, you'll see your mind starting to calm down. It's conditioning, like salivating, but at the dinner table. Well, we're all like that. Then what was the other thing? Yes, and the good and bad meditations. We think good meditations are when you're deep and calm and spiritual, and bad meditations are when you're anxious and angry and upset. That's not really the point. A good meditation is when you're mindful and aware of what's happening now. If you're angry and upset, anger is arising. You just watch it. And that's very important. If you can meditate and be furious, that's hard to do. Meditate and be scared. But if you can do that, then you're really making progress in meditation, because you're conscious during times when people are generally unconscious and acting automatically. And you're creating a space where meditation will be available to you in times of crisis. You'll be able, in the midst of great emotion, great intensity, to be quite clear and aware of this consciousness that's just watching quietly, which is also the source of wisdom. So that's very good. If you can sit there for the 5 minutes and just be uncomfortable and angry or whatever. Who was going to be next? You.
One thing I was going to say is I really should work on changing my attitude a little about, because I think when I was just starting, I was like taking it so earnest and everything never was so exactly right, and also the things that are convenient, but I had to set it all up, and it was just so if I didn't have if I wasn't really ready to do everything, then I would just blow up. So it's just sort of there, and I just think I'm just do that, and then it's just easy when you just do it. Without having it so big and hurt. And then sometimes even about their guys that you plan something, then the breathing things we're talking about are really I'll say I'm just going to sit anyway, and then breathe. I just express myself.
Good, yeah. Well, there are a lot of things you can do to begin getting into it when it's very hard. You might say, I'm too rushed, I don't have time to meditate. You can say, well, I will sit down now and take 10 mindful breaths. So you just sit and watch the breath in and out. Another thing that Thich Nhat Hanh recommends is, I don't know if it works for some people. The phone rings, time to meditate. One mindful breath, then I answer the phone. And people do that, and they say it makes isn't that a good idea? It makes the whole working environment different for some people.
In the program, we talked a lot of times about meditating, listening to our higher power. And I came from transcendental meditation, and not only mantra, but mantra the 3 U's, when you were saying. So I get this guilt feeling that clear my mind, I'm trying to absolutely not touch anything. And then it's like, well, wait, I'm not listening to God. So then he might have runs away from it. So to me, it sounds like what you're talking about doesn't sound to me like what I heard like what I'm supposed to be doing as far as paying attention.
Well, then ignore me. I mean, just do what you want to do. Who am I, you know? What I really mean is, yeah, there's plenty of ways to meditate. I'm just throwing out one. Transcendental meditation has been around in America for many, many years, and it helps a lot of people. And if that's what works for you, by all means, do it. What in terms of feelings, what I would do in Vipassana is, if guilt feelings, just say, guilt is arising. It's just another phenomena that's arising. So you don't have to fight it or talk yourself out of it, right? You don't have to suppress it. You don't have to go with it. You simply observe it as phenomena. So you get used to feeling the guilt without being run by it. And gradually these feelings will start to, a lot of them will start to subside.
Just wanted to share a little bit because I've had a meditation practice for quite some time, and I started with transcendental meditation, and with a mantra which I did not know the meaning of the word, still do not know the meaning of the word. I've never told anybody the word. It's probably like the one secret I've kept in my life. But that's kind of more what's known as a concentration practice. And actually, my understanding is that in Asia, in the time of Buddha, people began with the concentration practice because you're focusing on an object or a mantra over and over. It helps in the beginning to center the mind, and it helps it clear because you're just focusing on one thing. And then later on, people were taught the Vipassana or insight meditation, where you're not focusing on anything except just anchoring with the breathing. When in this century, as it's come to this country, we started a lot with the Vipassana and insight meditation first, and then actually there are some other techniques called loving kindness, which is sort of kind of like a Buddhist form of prayer, where you just send feelings of goodness to yourself, to people, and to all beings of any sort. So I don't know, I had this mantra that for years was always what I did, and when I changed to the insight meditation or Vipassana, the mantra would be there, and I would sort of do that thing too, like, there's that darn mantra, and I just, began to just like not judge it, which is I think a big part of the practice is acceptance and non-judgment of ourselves, of our minds. I notice other entities, I'm planning, I'm fantasizing, I'm thinking about what I could do later, but to not really judge that, and each moment that we don't judge it, but that we notice it, is one of those tiny moments of awakening, of mindfulness. Every time that we go, oh, there I am, thinking out, and come back to the breath, that's it. That's mindfulness. That's being present. And so every time we do that, it's actually really addicting, because we wake up at some point and go, oh, there I'm doing that, I wanted to do this. And I think there's no mistake to call it a meditation practice, because practice over and over, and I've talked to many extreme teachers who, been in monasteries, done silent retreats for 3 years at a time. And their mind still goes crazy every time they sit down and meditate. But we practice it. It's a little easier to just be in the present, be in the moment. And I've been in monasteries, and I've seen, monks in robes who have, done all this stuff, and on every full moon, in some traditions, they stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning meditating and chanting and doing things all night long, and I've done it with them before, and I had to do eyes open to stay awake myself because I was nodding up. And I look and I see the monks, and they're gone. So, it's like a human condition, and I think a big part of that is to just sort of love and accept that we have these human conditions, and we're practicing this thing called mindfulness or insight or something like that.
Shelley, you just gave me an idea. Would you be interested in doing a brief loving kindness meditation? We'll do it right now. Just a little introduction to it. The practice we just did for 5 minutes is called a wisdom practice, And the metta meditation, or loving kindness meditation, is called a compassion practice. So you can think of it, in Buddhism they think of it as the two wings of the bird that lead to enlightenment, wisdom and compassion. And that you have to develop both to achieve, spiritual wisdom. So, we'll do this for about 5 minutes, and this is more of a visualization kind of thing. And it's a little easier for most people. So again, same thing, just relax and close your eyes. Center yourself. Take a couple of mindful breaths. And each time you exhale, just imagine that any tension in the body is just going out on the breath. Bring your attention to the middle of your chest, to the heart center, and just be aware of what it feels like to be there, what that area of your body feels as you breathe. We begin always by directing loving kindness toward ourselves. The Buddha said, "You can search all the worlds and you will never find a being more worthy of your love than you." And so we begin with just a few affirmations. I'll do a few of the traditional ones. And just say them to yourselves. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I have ease and well-being. May I be well in mind and body. And may I find perfect freedom. Hold yourself in your heart as you breathe quietly. Now bring to mind someone you care about. Someone in your life for whom you feel affection or love. And bring that person into your heart. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you have ease and well-being. May you be well in mind and body. And may you find perfect freedom. Hold that person that you care for in your heart for a moment, and then softly let them go. Now, think of someone in your life that you have conflict with or that you don't like, someone you may be angry with. It doesn't have to be the person you hate most in the universe. It probably shouldn't be. Pick someone that you have some trouble with. Someone you have trouble, someone that your heart has been closed to. And just for this exercise, this experiment, feel your heart opening and invite that person in. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you have ease and well-being. May you be well in mind and body. And may you find perfect freedom. And then, softly, wishing that person well, let them go. It hurts so much to close our heart to someone else. Now, from the center of your heart, feel that energy of loving kindness radiating outward to everyone in this room. May everyone in this room be happy. Feel this loving kindness energy moving outward to everyone in your life. Family, friends, enemies. For right now, they're all us. There's no them. Feel this energy moving out to all beings everywhere, without exception, in all worlds. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May they be well in mind and body. May they have ease and well-being. And may all beings everywhere find perfect freedom. And then softly, as you're ready, carrying that sweet energy of loving kindness with you, bring your attention back into the room and open your eyes. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. What happened? Do you feel any different than before we started? Was it difficult? Was it easy? It was easy. Good.
It was pretty easy. I'm already halfway there anyway. I do some meditation. Mostly aiding those who weekly something in the house and do your own meditation kind of thing. And so it's really easy to fall back into it.
Great. Loving kindness meditation is a practice for opening the heart, and like any in the philosophy of Buddhism, it's felt that loving kindness is a muscle like any other. It can be strengthened through practice, so that just doing a few of these affirmations every day, can begin to make loving kindness a habit.
I'm new at this. When you do the action part, will you actually after a while start really feeling those feelings?
Yes.
I didn't feel it right away.
Very good question. No, I'm sure nobody else felt that way, right? The person you hated, you just fell in love with. Yeah. I mean, what happens with this is that it's your intention that's important. That the intention to send loving kindness toward another human being is what fosters this. It doesn't matter if you feel it. If you just say the words, it begins. You've planted a seed that begins to grow. I wouldn't recommend that you start right off the bat trying to do this with your abuser, or with the person who robbed you at gunpoint, or you know what I mean. Don't start with the biggies. If you're going to do this practice, start with people that you have irritations toward. Maybe someone who cut you off on the freeway today. Start with that person. Even while it's happening, by the way. That son of a bitch. May he be happy. May he be peaceful. Even if you don't mean it. You'll see it. It begins you begin to develop an energy that becomes habitual, because the habit of irritability and anger, which is so predominant in our culture, is just a habit. We all reinforce it in each other. But if you start doing this other thing, you feel so much happier. You notice this? It's much happier to feel affectionate and kind toward people than to feel angry toward them and hatred toward them. So for purely selfish reasons, it feels better.
I just wanted to feel pretty blissful from that meditation.
Great.
And I don't probably feel blissful, but, that kind of meditation makes me think of, the part of the ego where it says faith, for the person that you don't like. And, I do use that a lot, now. In early recovery, I forgot I would keep that in mind, have to be reminded. But it really helps work for me. There are two people at work that I have to come along, and they literally hated me, and I would hate for them. And over time, it's kind of like what you say, there's just, somehow I can just treat them with enough, I guess, love and respect, that I get it back. We're not going to ever be best friends, but we get along now, we can work well together. And it's a miracle.
Yeah, it is. It's miraculous, the effect it has. One of the reasons we resist doing this is that we are very self-protective. We think if we open our hearts to somebody that they're going to hurt us, they're going to take advantage of us. Our hatred and our resentments are defensive. And that means that we have them because we think they help us. They defend us from danger, right? So it's important and of course there are dangerous people in the world. There are people who can hurt us. That's not some kind of illusion. The important thing to remember with loving kindness meditation is that opening your heart doesn't mean opening your front door. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're going to put up with abuse. It doesn't mean that unacceptable behavior is acceptable. It doesn't mean it's all pretty and everyone's wonderful. No, it just means the intention to send loving kindness to another human being. You still have to, take care of yourself and so on.
It's like you said, for me it relates right back to the big book, but also I find the meta meditation to be very useful for a daily 10-step plan.
A what? A 10-step?
Yeah, the daily review.
Ah, yeah.
To be
because it kind of keeps my street a little bit cleaner, my side of it, and it prepares me for the events I think, or at least the apologies that I ended up in the state.
The Buddha said about this, in fact, he recommended that very practice, that you end each day with the loving kindness meditation for the people you resented during the day, and what he said is that the rewards of this are that you will sleep deeply, and that you will have sweet dreams. That's what he said is the immediate advantage of loving kindness meditation. So it's a treatment for insomnia, and it works actually. Yeah. Imagining them getting all that they want, all that they need. Yeah, all their dreams fulfilled. That's another affirmation you can use. I remember the first time I tried this to someone I really had trouble with. I said, "May he get everything he deserves." Which isn't quite the right spirit. But that's a really good idea, yeah. Shelley?
Yeah, when I started the Vipassana practice in the late 80s, and then I began to hear the Dharma, which the Dharma is one of these Pali words, Pali being the language that the Buddha spoke. And the Dharma means the truth, or the teachings of the Buddha. Same thing, teachings of the Buddha, the truth. And so as I started hearing the Dharma, I already had a few years of program under my belt, and I'd just be like, oh, that's like, accepted that there was so much from the program that translated to the Dharma, and it made it really easy, because I had these little program phrases really quickly that when they would do this explanation, I'd be like, oh yeah. And then, when you study, the founders of AA and discover that they were studying many spiritual paths, including the Dharma. So, I'm amazed, and the people that I've met in 12-step programs who are pursuing the Dharma and meditating, and I know when I began the program, my meditation practice had been kind of off and on, and once I heard the steps and heard the 11th step, I was like, oh yeah, the 11th step meditation, and it really helped me to get back to a daily practice of meditating on a daily basis. And helpful. It's just, for me, it's very interesting how the two go together so well.
Any other burning questions? If you'd like, what we can do is end this workshop with about a 10-minute meditation. Would that be all right? Oh, yeah. Why don't we do that now, and then we'll finish with the meditation.
I'm Shelley. I'm an alcoholic and a grateful member of Al-Anon. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. What I want to tell you about, I want to invite you, if you're interested, and just to let you know, and I actually just last night went, I should just make up a little flyer, to let you know that there's a place called Spirit Rock Meditation Center, which is over the bridge in Marin, in the countryside. And that we have events there that are specifically for lesbian, gay, bi, transgender people. In fact, that's how Tom and I know each other, because a little over 3 years ago we had our first gay and lesbian residential retreat, where for 4 days and 4 nights there's about 30 men and 30 women, it usually turns out, and we go to a retreat center and we're in silence and sitting and meditating. We have 2 wonderful teachers, Dharma teachers, a man and a woman, Irina Wiseman, who lives in Massachusetts, and Eric Kolvig, who lives in New Mexico now. Anyway, Eric and Irina come here twice a year, and so there's Coming up in August, there's a Saturday and Sunday 2-day non-residential thing at Spirit Rock for lesbians. And then in November, November 7th and 8th, there's a weekend called Gay and Free at Spirit Rock, where it's men and women together. And it's really these day-longs where you just go on Saturday or Saturday and Sunday if you want, are really wonderful opportunities to deepen your practice, to learn the techniques. You'll learn, sitting meditation, walking meditation, even eating meditation for lunchtime. And then next April of 1999 will be the 4th time that we'll have, again, this 4-day silent retreat for 4 days and nights with our beloved teachers. I don't think this is even working, is it?
No, it's not amplifying it, it's taping it, yeah.
So
you can leave those out?
Yeah, so I ran off some of these things. There's a hotline now that you can call, an information, gay and lesbian information line at Spirit Rock, where you can call and there'll be a message telling you about whatever event's coming up. And also there's a mailing list. And also we're welcome there at any other time when it's not gay and lesbian. And it's a really wonderful place. And just on Monday, we're opening a long-term retreat center, residential retreat center there, and the first people to actually sit on these 400 acres of land that we have out in Marin and be in this meditation hall and rooms to stay in is just beginning. And we'll be there next April. The Gay and Lesbian will be the first group, gay and lesbian group, to sit there on a residential retreat on Spirit Rock. So, thank you.
It's the most gay-friendly meditation place I've ever been, and it's quite beautiful. And I'm going to leave these out too. These are flyers. They're 3 pages long, and they sort of summarize everything we said today. And I don't know. I'll leave them here. I think it's enough for everybody when you leave. So for those, if you want to go, that's one more. Oh yeah, great.
Every Thursday night, 8 to 10. It is a sit-down Monday for Vipassana meditation, and there's a sitting meditation, and walking meditation, and eating meditation, and body relaxation. And,
God, that's a block from where I live.
56 and a half Sancha, the 14th, on Thursday night, from 7 to 9. Karen Van Dyke is the facilitator. And it is a very gay and lesbian friendly place.
Thank you. That's a block from where I live, and I never knew it existed. Yeah. So, unless there's a burning share or question, what I think we should do is end with about a 10-minute meditation and maybe a closing affirmation. Is that all right? And we'll just do the Vipassana again, and I will occasionally cut in and say things, if that's all right, because we're still, for those of you who are new to this practice, I think it helps if we do that, okay? So once again, get a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a few really deep, long, slow breaths. Let go of thoughts, plans, and just be here. And bring your attention to your breathing. Notice where you feel the breath. Do you feel it going in your nostrils? Or do you feel it in your chest? Or in your throat? Wherever you feel it the most, just let your attention rest there. And just watch as the breath comes in and as the breath goes out. Where is the mind right now? If it's wandered off, gently bring it back to the breath. Be thankful for this moment of awakening and focus again on the breathing. If the mind is going off into thoughts or feelings, quietly note feelings arising or thoughts arising, and then let them go and return to the breath. Notice if you're waiting for the bell to ring. If impatience is arising, note that. Impatience is arising, don't fight with it, just let it be. Notice your awareness, the quality of your awareness, its spaciousness, its wholeness, its quiet, its deep compassion. This is you. May I go out from this room today joyful and at peace. May I be joyful and peaceful through the entire conference this weekend. May I be guided and may I be open to everything that I should learn and come to know this weekend. And may I always be joyous, happy,